Good morning, friends. Good morning, students. In today's class, we'll discuss the definition and classification of lipids, right? So, first of all, I will start with the definition, right? So, what are lipids? Lipids are organic substances, right? Right? And they are insoluble in water, right? And they are soluble in organic solvents, right? And organic solvents can be alcohol, right? Or it can be ether, etc., right? And one more thing, there is one more term is there, lipidomics. Domics, it is the study of lipids is known as lipidomics. So the definition is clear now. They are organic substances that are soluble in organic solvents like alcohol and ether, and they are insoluble in water, right? But there is one more property of lipids that differentiate them from carbohydrates and proteins. That is that the lipids, they does not exist in polymeric form, right? And but in case of carbohydrates, they can exist in polymeric form like polysaccharides, heteropolysaccharides, etc. And proteins, they also exist in polymeric forms, and nucleic acid, they exist as well. But in case of lipids, they doesn't exist in polymeric form, right? Now I will start with classification of lipids. First of all, they are broadly categorized into four categories, right? The four broad categories are: the first is simple lipids, right? The second is complex lipids, and the third is derived lipids, right? And the fourth category is miscellaneous, right? Now we'll discuss them individually. Now I will start with the first category, that is simple lipids, right? The simple lipids are esters of fatty acid plus alcohol, right? They are esters of fatty acid with alcohol, right? And they are further categorized into two categories, right? The first is oil or fat, right? And the second is waxes, right? In oil and fat, there is one difference is that oil is liquid at room temperature and the fat is solid at room temperature, right? And in this case, oil and fat, the alcohol is glycerol, right? They are esters of fatty acid with alcohol, glycerol, and if it is solid at room temperature, it is fat, and if it is liquid at room temperature, it is oil, right? Now coming on to waxes, they are esters of fatty acid with alcohol, but the alcohol is not glycerol, right? And these waxes have several uses, like they are used in lubrication purpose, they are used in making of candles, right? And they are also used in cosmetics, right? And the alcohol can be aliphatic or alicyclic as well, right? Now I will start with the second category, that are complex lipids. Now in the second case, the complex lipid, the combination of alcohol and fat is already there, right? But it contains some additional substances as well. They can be phosphorus, right? Then it can be some nitrogenous base, then it can be carbohydrate or some protein, right? And the complex lipid are further categorized into four more categories, right? The first is phospholipids, right? The second is glycolipids. The third is lipoproteins, and the fourth is other complex lipids, right? Now we'll discuss them individually, starting from phospholipids. Now I will start with the details of phospholipid. Since they are esters of fatty acidic alcohol, the same pattern as simple lipids, but they contain additionally, right? They contain additionally a phosphoric acid and a nitrogenous base, right? And they are further categorized into two categories. First is glycerophospholipids, and the second is sphingophospholipid, right? So how you can differentiate glycero and sphingo? In this case, the alcohol is glycerol, and in this case, the alcohol is sphingosine, right? So you can differentiate on the basis of alcohol. If the alcohol is sphingosine, then it is sphingophospholipid, and the alcohol is glycerol, it is glycerophospholipid, and both of them contain phosphorus, right? And the examples are lecithin and cephalin. And here the example are sphingomyelins, right? Now I will start with glycolipids. Now starting with glycolipids, they contain fatty acid, carbohydrate, and a nitrogenous base, right? In this, the glycerol and phosphoric acid are totally absent, right? Right. So since glycerol is not there in this, the alcohol is sphingosine, right? And sphingosine alcohol is there, and it's a combination with carbohydrate, so they can also be known as glycosphingolipids. Because the alcohol is sphingosine, glyco for carbohydrate, so the name is glycolipid, right? And coming on to the third category, that is lipoproteins. The glycolipids were the combination of carbohydrate with lipid, and in lipoproteins, the combination are protein with lipids. So they are macromolecular complexes of lipids and protein, right? And the fourth category, the other complex lipids. Now, the lipids can form combination with the substances as well. For example, if they form combination with sulfur, so they can be known as sulfolipids, right? And moreover, they can be lipopolysaccharides as well under this category, right? There can be also the combination with amino acids, so they can be aminolipids, right? So that finishes with our second category complete, that are complex lipid, four categories: phospholipid, glycolipid, lipoprotein, and other complex lipid. When phosphorus is there, they are phospholipids, and moreover, the alcohol can be different. If glycerol is there, can be glycerophospholipid, and the alcohol is sphingosine, then sphingophospholipid, right? And in case of glycolipid, the glycerol is totally absent and phosphorus is totally absent. The alcohol is sphingosine and carbohydrate content is more. So the name glycolipids or glycosphingolipids because sphingosine is the alcohol, right? And lipoproteins, the combination of lipid and protein, they are macromolecular complexes of lipids and proteins. Fourth category, complex lipids, the combination with other things like sulfur, sulfolipids, lipopolysaccharides, and the combination with amino acid like aminolipids, right? Now starting with the third category, that is derived lipids. On to the derived lipids, right? They are formed by hydrolysis of group 1 and group 2 lipids. The group 1 is simple lipids, group 2 is complex lipids, right? By hydrolysing these group 1 and group 2 will get derived lipids, right? And they contain glycerol and other glucose as well. Besides this, it contains fatty acids and some fat soluble vitamins, right? So what comes under this category? Steroid hormones, then hydrocarbons, then ketone bodies, right? Now I'll start with the fourth category, that are miscellaneous lipids. Now the fourth category is miscellaneous lipids. They are large compounds that possess characteristics of lipids, right? And what comes under this category? First is terpenes, right? Then squalene, right? Then carotenoids, right? And finally you can take BVEX, right? And these four categories are there, but you can have one more category, that is neutral lipid, right? Neutral means it doesn't have any charge, right? It is neutral, so the name is neutral lipid. What comes under this category? Mono, di, and triacyl glycerol, right? They come under this category, right? So that finishes with our class on classification and the definition. So for upcoming videos, please like the channel and subscribe it and share with your friends. Thank you. God bless you.